The other woman, 25. We never fully see her face, but she should have a near-perfect body. Sarah, Brian's love interest. Attractive, cute, and flirty. She's the ideal girl and Brian's prize throughout the entire film. These do not sound like the parts that I get. The parts I get sound like low-class Cockney maid. Transhuman android. Lonely, socially awkward concierge. Alcoholic, yuppie lawyer. And I'm not a lesbian, but I play one on TV. I don't know much, but I know my type. And I know that I am Lynne Marie Rosenberg, and I know that I am delighted to welcome you to Cast and Loose Live Back to School Night. Tonight, we'll be educated by some of the worst breakdowns to grace the internet as seen on my Tumblr, Cast and Loose. If you're new to Cast and Loose, there is only one thing you need to know. Every listing you hear from the talented actors behind me tonight is absolutely real. The only editing I've done is for brevity. As illegitimate as they may sound, they are all woefully legitimate. And speaking of the folks behind me, to help me this evening, I am joined by some incredibly talented friends. William Jackson Harper, you may know. You may know from All the Way on Broadway, and you are about to see him in P73's production of You Got Older at Here. Previews start Wednesday. You may not have seen him in his high school production of Natalie Needs a 90. Lauren Blumenfeld. You may know from the assembled parties on Broadway opposite one of my heroes, Judith Light. You may not have seen her playing Barack Obama in the one-night-only limited engagement of Barack and Me. Emilio Delgado, you most certainly know as Luis from Sesame Street, where he was one of the first non-Muppet cast members to join the show. You may not have seen him in the 1970 Russ Meyer film, Cherry, Harry, and Raquel, in which he did, in fact, shoot the sheriff. Ching Valdazaran, you may have seen, and you may continue to see in The Tempest at La Mama, which runs through November 2nd. You may not have seen her as the King in her all-girls high school production of The King and I. DeBargo Sanyal, you may have seen in The Magic of Belle Isle opposite Morgan Freeman, or Everybody's Fine opposite Robert De Niro. You may not have seen him as a flight attendant in a Delta Airlines basic cable commercial who gave honey roasted peanuts to an elderly man, followed by a thumbs up and a wink. And Amber Gray, you may have seen at Soho Rec this past year in An Octoroon, which is now headed to theater for a new audience in February 2015. You may not have seen her as Minimus the Pig in Wayland High School's production of Animal Farm the Musical. You especially didn't see her if you came the night that Ryan Seifert skipped 3 pages of text and cut her part out completely. I told her she was going to kill me for that. She didn't know that was coming.
I hadn't even remembered it.
So, in case you missed the first Cast and Loose Live, let's review. We learned about our types. Types like
African-American man wearing a kimono, smokes a lot of weed, a jack of all trades, who enjoys karaoke, selling drugs, and makeup artistry.
Sunny but emotionally needy East Village candle carver.
A weathered Latino Native American blue-collar bodega owner who's a drug lord and looks like Fidel Castro.
Ageless dragon lady.
A diabolical terrorist of Arabesque descent. With a Muslim accent.
Worst. Has a Maya Rudolph vibe to her. We studied age.
Cindy, Any ethnicity, 50 to 100 years old.
Old grandpa, age 40 to 65. A sweet, innocent, elderly man with preferably gray hairs.
Brindy, female, mid-20s. She's a woman caught in midlife crisis, struggling to find herself.
So sad. We figured out our race, like if we were Latina.
Leslie, Latina or white with Latina affectation. Curvaceous and not at all athletic. Bountiful posterior doesn't hurt.
Or black.
Homeless black guy. Well-built, scary-looking black man.
John, 22 to 29 years old, an African American who is very Americanized and acts more white than black. Prototype Donald Glover.
Yeah. Or white.
Caucasian, literally from the Caucasus Mountains.
Or if we cover a range of cultural types.
Multi-ethnic business traveler. Please be multi-ethnic, biracial, multiracial. This industrial has a very metropolitan sensibility, so multi-ethnic talent is required.
No, non-traditional racial casting as long as you can speak well and carry yourself accordingly.
We didn't have a chance to cover sexual orientation.
Izzy, female 20 to 30, open sexuality, but should have long hair.
Choreographer, 40 to 50s, male, French or European looking Caucasian, ability to speak super feminine way.
Baby Dyke, female, early 20s, shaved head, Doc Martens, wife beater.
Nick, male, 18 to 21, young, barely legal type gay male. What one would refer to as a twink. Very cute, energetic, playful, flirty, boy next door, but not flamboyant.
Nina Paris. Nina and Paris became famous last year as they proclaimed their lesbian love for each other.
Where I'm from, we just call that love. We did have time to talk about what it means to be a woman.
Alex, 24 to 28, stereotypically attractive in the way a movie audience expects an actress to look.
Olivia, pretty and professional, which usually places herself outside of most men's reach.
Haley, 30, she hates men as a result of having been left by her late boyfriend.
And we learned how vital it is for women to read breakdowns carefully.
The Magician, actress model who is beautiful while also can perform magic.
Jennifer, female, 30s, direct yet neurotic, loud yet taciturn, able to ramble yet is cohesive with emotion.
Naomi, thin and beautiful, but edgy and dark. Worldly and beautiful, but in a damaged way. Has been hurt many times before, but she hides it well. Is not the type of girl to put up with bullshit, but she is also the kind of girl who would die for you. Needs no one to be happy, or at least she thinks she doesn't, can be your best friend, or your worst enemy. Aggressive and hard in the company of strangers, but she melts into a softie when she loves you. A free spirit with ties to nothing.
I think I've got whiplash. Tonight we'll continue our studies, and what better way to start than with students themselves. The hundreds of student projects casting at any given time can help you build a resume and a reel, and possibly more.
This is a student film from New York Film Academy. We can offer you credit and the promise of festival exposure, Sundance, Cannes, Aspen, and the like.
Sure, sweetie. Sure, that's going to happen. Student breakdowns are a great window into what our nation's film schools are teaching our youth, or more accurately, what they're not teaching them. English.
Sabrina. She is good at dancing since young and becomes a professional dancing teacher in a studio where she meets the right person and has few years relationship. But the one scene could go longer with her once hurt her. They split apart because of a newcomer, the owner of the studio. Best friend that grow up together. Joanna, a physical damaged girl. Sabrina then meets another guy on the show, but she feels love is not easy anymore.
Islam hunter. Islam country-looking man. 25 to 40 years old, 5'4" to 6'4", any eye color, but prefer black or brown. The one who can show violence with body and facial expression.
Adelaide, innocent girl with a slight baby voice, who also doesn't have a strong grasp in the English language, and ends up using broke down sentences.
Now, I get tripped up with the true definition of irony sometimes, but this is it, right? Additionally, film schools don't seem to be teaching realistic requests of actors.
Alice, slim and athletic, any height, any color hair, as long as it's perfectly blow-dried. Ideal outfit, slim trousers with a perfect white tee, a helmet-laying jacket, an iconic handbag, and an architectural shoe with minimal jewelry.
They do, however, seem to be teaching students that if you want an actor to be able to act, you have to specify as much in your breakdown.
Isabel will play the role of the leader's girlfriend. No dialogue, but a lot of emotions to show through acting.
Cashier. An angry worker who catches Sam stealing should be able to play a range of emotions. Mostly angry.
Max. Blue eyes, expressionable face, meaning he can express a lot of emotions without words.
Good thing you defined it, since it's not a word. They are, of course, teaching students, and young men in particular, how to pull their creativity from life experience, or at very least, from their fantasies.
Maria, female, late 20s, the kind of dark-haired beauty that inspires songs that change the world. She falls in love with Randy after he plays a single song that moves her to tears. On the spot, she's willing to cash in her manic pixie dream girl card, sell her Vespa, quit her job, and spend a year shamelessly promoting the fabulously talented Randy. We should all be so lucky to have someone like this in our life. Note, requires a discreetly simulated but fully clothed sex scene.
Now, eventually, these students graduate and head into the business, and the lessons they learned in school carry into their professional careers. The post-academic world has no shortage of ridiculous requests.
Married, supported, 6'4" or taller. Odd/creature movement, still walking a plus, looking like a real marionette of huge
We will be using a low-power leaf blower to force air into some of the faces of the actors during the audition to achieve the high-speed wind or G-face look. This will not be an unreasonable, unsafe, or painful process.
Union or non-union, to portray hot person, licking a face / getting face licked.
Standing old face? The gratuitous requests for acting ability don't stop either.
Nurse, female, any ethnicity, 30s, bland face, girl next door. Must have expressive facial expression, especially eyes, but also keep a blank look.
I can only assume that this is what they're referring to. I didn't get called in. The troubles with language don't go away after graduation either.
30 to 50-year-old Caucasian male who called me made to look like Abraham Vinyl. And is a great break dancer. Must be tall, thin, with a lanky build, and ideally with an elongated face, strong facial bow structure, and dark hair. Will be featured in a live sketch during the show's taping in front of a studio audience. Must have a great breakdancing ability, and ideally a reel that is part of his actor's profile that shows strong breakdancing for consideration by the director, as there isn't time for auditions. Our HBO clients will view headshots, resumes, reels to make booking decisions.
We always thought infinite monkey theorem would produce Shakespeare, but it turns out we get a John Oliver's Last Week Tonight breakdown. In addition to acting requests and language woes, the psychology of the young male continues to rear its head in the professional world as well.
Helen. As a mother, Helen was loving and maternal. As a wife, Helen was chiding and disconnected, materialistic and totalitarian in her expectations of her husband. She created a huge rift in their family.
That was a slow burn.
Female, any age from 18 to 25, as long as she looks like she can play a 17-year-old. Stunningly pretty for a woman, but still has that presence of a little girl lurking inside her. Actress should be able to play an outgoing female role who is interested in older men.
The only thing lurking in this breakdown is the author.
Mother lets her husband physically abuse her and her son. Feminine, fragile.
Eric, young, basic, average guy whose fear of everything has trapped him in a life controlled by the women in his life.
Your mommy issues are showing. It makes you wonder if there was something these guys just didn't get enough of as children.
Big boob girl. Woman, 20s. Big boob girl is blessed in the chest area.
Union to portray post-pregnancy mom breastfeeding a baby. Indicate if you would be comfortable showing side boob or full boob on camera.
Nurse Ratchet, a busty and attractive woman in her mid to late 20s who helps children fight their fear of needles with her nurturing attitude and angelic look.
And her boobs. Does she also help them with her boobs? Before we take time to learn a bit more about the audition process, I would love to take a break and hear some casting trials and tribulations from my friends on stage right now. So, Emilio, I heard that you have a story for us of your very first acting job in New York City.
Oh yes, my first theater job here in New York. The last time that we did this, I told the story about how I got to New York with a job on Sesame Street, how it got me here. And so I was here like maybe 2 months, and a friend of mine, an actor, said, hey, they're casting for understudies for Raul Julia for Two Gentlemen of Verona at the Public. Let's go. So I said, okay, but I don't have a song. I don't have sheet music, nothing. He says, okay, just bring your guitar and sing a song. So So we came down to Public Theater and we auditioned, you know, and I went up and the guy says, what, you gonna sing a song? I said, yeah. So I went, on the guitar, right? And the guy says, okay, go up and see Joe. So I said, okay. So I went up the stairs and at the top of the stairs there was an office where the doors were open and there was this guy sitting behind this big desk with 2 phones, one in either ear, talking to somebody. And I went in and he motioned me to come in and I stood there and I had my guitar and he just stopped me and said, you gonna sing me a song? And I said, yes. I went, and he stopped me, he says, good. He says, go downstairs and get fitted. I was thinking, get fitted? I got the job. Okay, so I ran downstairs and I'm getting fitted and I said to the person, I said, who's this Joe guy up there? He says, Joe Papp? It was Joe Papp, gave me my first theater job in New York.
So apropos, I love it. That's fantastic. Directors that haven't been as successful, I think, DeMarco, you have a story about a specific director.
I had this one audition for a commercial that was for sinus congestion medication over the counter, and we had to do like a before and after thing of like, you know, when your sinuses are all congested, your nose is all stuffed, and you can't breathe, and you're like glum because of that, and then the after is when you can like, and you can breathe, and you're happy, and you know, kumbaya. So, but the director was eccentric, and so he chose to give his directions in the form of, he actually named flowers that he would like you to emulate smelling when in the after portion of post-sinus congestion medication. So you know, I do the after for the first time, and you know, I'm like, I can breathe, whatever. And then he was British, not you know, British people are great. I'm saying this one guy, he was like, yeah, that's lovely, but that was too much petunia. Maybe this time I would like to, could you be like a chrysanthemum? And I asked very politely, I'm not as botanically inclined. I thought this was sinus medication. Could you explain the distinction? Then he's like, you know, just listen to the word petunia. Chrysanthemum. And so I tried, and I was like, and then he was like, no. And I didn't get the job.
I think that was stellar work. I saw chrysanthemum in your
Thank
face.
you.
Were there any other flowers, or did you go through a whole list of botanical options?
Those were the two I recall, because those were the first ones, and it all went downhill from there. I wasn't listening anymore.
Amazing. Amber, you have a commercial story as well, yeah?
Yeah, I remember very few details of it. I just remember what matters, right? It was 10 years ago, I just moved to the city. It was for Bradzilla's, that TV show. I think it still airs, I don't know. I just knew I had to dance, and when I got there, they were like, oh, we're going in like sets of 3 to 5. We're gonna wait till more dancers your size show up. And they didn't mean like my weight, they meant my height, which I slowly realized as everyone who came in was a giant. And a couple of them were actual Rockettes. So I waited an hour, and then they finally were like, it's fine, just come on. So I'm in there with 4 other girls who are like a foot taller than me, right? And we have to learn this choreography. And we did it 5 times, so that we could do it 5 times as a group, but each time there was like a solo section where one of the girls would come out and like do her kicks and shit. Like they were like incredible dancers. And I can move well. But anyway, when it came, I went last because I was scared. So the 5th round, when it came to the dance break, I just like Tina Turner, like rolling down. Like with all, like I was in clown class, like with all my heart and soul.
told you were brave on stage. They can see my courage, something has gone terribly wrong. Lauren, I hate to put you on the spot, but you are in more commercials than any one individual that I know. And I wonder if you have any ridiculous commercial audition stories or...
I mean, they're all pretty
Right.
insane. I was just thinking of one just because you're talking about dancing. I've never actually been asked to dance at a commercial audition, but there was a television audition where, you know, it was like a part that I thought I was a shoo-in for. It was like nerdy tutor, and I was like, and I went in, and it really felt great. I was tutoring math. And the casting director was like, Lauren, I think this part is yours. Come back in 2 hours for the producer's session, but you're gonna have to break dance. I was like, sure. And I remember I was around here and I had a friend who was like auditioning for In the Heights because he was a really good dancer, and I was like, meet me here and teach me a routine. And then I went in and they were like, do you want to start with the dance? And I did. And then I did my dance and they were like, do you want to do the sides?
Is it even worth any of our time? I would give anything to see the footage of that audition. Anything. That's the one you ask your agent for at the end of the day. Thank you guys so much. I have to say, I love doing the show, but this section is one of my favorites because it's such a commiserating and cathartic moment to hear like, oh, I'm not the only one out there who feels like a crazy person because I get asked to bark like a dog or, you know, eat 6 cucumbers and that's like the whole commercial, whatever it is. So I so appreciate you guys sharing your stories. All right, yeah. All right, back to our lessons. When auditioning, you have to be prepared to bring all of your individuality to the table. It could be your look, demon. We're looking for a terrifying, scary-looking person. Preferably someone who needs only minimal makeup to make them look demonic.
Seeking union female with hairy legs. Please send photos of your hairy legs.
Janice, Caucasian/Asian male, a peaceful, overweight man, possibly Buddhist looking.
Female with elongated face.
Hey female, why the long face? Your unique quality could be how you move.
Cyrene. She is pretty and nice and moves with a gentle motion that is similar to that of the wind.
Joy Lee, Asian, 10 years old, must be good at blinking.
I would love to see that audition. Sometimes your day job can play an important role in your castability.
Young men and women to portray elf, hater, waiter.
Please do not respond unless you are part of a mariachi band or know someone who is.
Union OBGYN. Submit selfies.
And where or during what activity exactly would you like that selfie to be taken? But what can really set you apart in the casting world are your special skills.
Contortionist. We would like someone who can fit in a bird cage. Not a canary cage, but a 3-foot height one.
Girl that can do the splits. A beautiful brick house. Solid, full-figure girl that can do the splits. In a performance sketch for the awards.
Skilled pianist. You will be the only person on set, and you must be able to play very well. If you don't play very well, you will look stupid and cause problems on the set.
No, I
advise what experience you have riding a Segway.
That's all, just that picture.
Fluent Tagalog speaker, victim of a natural disaster, but funny.
Must be able to suck well at improv.
Female triangle player for very, very featured work. Please note your experience with the triangle/percussion instruments, and if you do own a triangle.
That's another great way to get yourself in the door. Props and costumes.
Union homeless types with attire.
Union to portray high school teacher with glasses.
You can afford union wages, but wardrobe can't afford to buy a pair of vanity glasses.
Female athletic shape, owning your own horse.
I have seen a lot of prop requests, but it takes some serious balls to request a horse. Of course, the other side of the coin is what you're willing not to wear. Nudity and your willingness to participate in it can impact what you submit to.
Must be willing to simulate childbirth in a public restroom with partial front nudity.
Passed out girl. Topless on the floor in an empty apartment. Face will not be shown. You will be used again for another character in the series.
Yeah, stick with me, honey. Show me your tits now, I'll make you a star later.
Co-star, male, great shape, comfortable with nudity, defiles a corpse.
Lawyer, 40 to mid-60s, male or female. There is nudity in this project, but not in the scene you are in.
But you should play your knowledge of the nudity ever so slightly in your audition.
Nudity. There mostly likely will not be nudity in this film, but we do not want to rule it out until we percent 100 know which storyline we will be pursuing for the contest. Talent will be required to disrobe at the first audition.
I consider this preemptive precautionary nudity. Inevitably, where there is nudity, there is sex.
Linda, 18 to 25, Caucasian, beautiful and sexy body. This role requires full and stimulated love scenes. Only apply if you're comfortable with nudity.
You have to be prepared for intimate contact.
Female to portray 20s hot, sexy girl. Must be okay with making out with the principal actor, as well as having your briefs. Groped by the principal actor. Possible line as well.
They'll let you talk if your briefs are nice enough.
Elizabeth Carlyle. She's a well-versed historian and translator with tremendous depth of knowledge in the Latin American culture that is only matched by her stunning looks. Must be comfortable with tongue kissing, being on top or under male talent, and grinding in a manner that indicates sex.
Women comfortable simulating receiving oral sex. Please send current photo of your legs only.
Must have exceptionally expressive calves. No matter what, make sure you're honest with yourself about your comfort level.
Hero hot girl. This girl needs to be drop dead gorgeous. Should also have a great attitude and be up for anything types, not brutish. We won't ask you to do anything crazy, X-rated, or illegal, but we will expect you to be adventurous and willing to do anything asked of you. Laid back, fun, and uninhibited. The kind of girl that will totally let loose on spring break. and during our video shoot.
Surprise! All right, let's switch gears for a moment. I have been asked a number of times to cite what I believe to be a good breakdown, one that would not wind up on Cast and Loose. The following is from McCorkle Casting for a Playmakers Rep production of Midsummer Night's Dream. Now, admittedly, this is, if I do say so, one of the great female roles in the Shakespeare canon, but still, I think this particular breakdown nails it.
Titania, Hippolyta, a force of nature, powerful and mysterious, yet with great humanity. While she possesses a great ferocity, her greatest power lies in her love of life, her sense of joy, empathy, and humor. Strong language and physical skills are essential. She is someone who is very at ease and activated in her body.
It's lovely, right? But where's the fun in that? I think we should take it upon ourselves to transform this very respectful breakdown into a Cast and Loose MVP. It's time for Cast and Loose Mad Libs. I'm sure you all remember this childhood favorite. You'll give me some words and we'll fix up this breakdown to match the standards to which we've become accustomed. So, can I have a noun?
Supple. No.
Do you want to try again? The noun is the person, place, or thing kind.
Refrigerator.
Great. And can I have an adverb? That's the kind with the ly at the end.
Viciously.
Viciously. Emilio, I hope you're going to be able to read my handwriting. Ethnicity, please.
Inuit.
Inuit. Can I have a type of genitalia?
Areola.
Thank you. Both. Can I have another body part? Toe. Toe. Just one? Yeah. Great. Very specific number. Can I have an item of clothing?
Turtleneck.
Knickers? Thanks, Dad. That'll live on forever in my memory. Therapy's on Tuesday. Can I have a prop, please?
Skull.
Skull! Thank you. Thanks, Patrick. Okay, good. I'm glad. Can I have another prop? Shovel. Shovel! Can I have a bedroom activity?
Spooning.
Hide and go seek. Coming to your bedroom next, Nick. Can I have a special skill? Yodeling.
I have my own horse.
Yodeling? Yeah, great. Can I have another special skill? Burping. Burping. Nose singing? Is that like no theater? Japanese no theater? Can I have an adjective? Supple. And lastly, can I have the word sassy? Sassy. Let's see what we made.
Titania and Hippolyta, a force of refrigerator, viciously Inuit. Yet with great areola. While she possesses a great toe, her greatest power lies in her niggers. Her skull, shovel, and what was this? Her skull, shovel, and hide and go seek. Strong yodeling and burping are essential. She is someone who is very supple and sassy in her body.
Beautiful work. Much better. All right, before we continue on with our education, you guys can have a seat if you want. I'd like to take another break and welcome to the stage someone else who is out there fighting the good fight. He is the Director of Education and Events at Backstage Magazine and the founder of Audition Update, a website which has become a vital resource for actors in New York over the last few years. Please help me welcome Tom Lapke. So before we get too much into you, and I want to talk about you, I do want to point one thing out that Tom brought up to my attention. So, Patrick, if you can go to the next slide. So, if you're very observant, you might notice that there is a similarity. There's a slight wink, just a small wink of my logo to the Backstage Magazine logo. And for anyone who doesn't know, will you tell us a little bit about what Backstage Magazine is?
Sure. Backstage is a magazine and a website that, for the most part, is casting notices and breakdowns for actors, and we also have a lot of editorial and articles about the industry in general.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the irony is, and I'm not sure if that's the correct use of the word irony, but the irony is almost none of the breakdowns on my Tumblr come from Backstage. And the reason, yay! The reason for that is that they're edited on Backstage. So there are people who are hired to take these breakdowns, sometimes wayward, and edit them, and then they go up on the post. So very few of the ones that I see actually come from Backstage. The wink is, because this is where we all go for this part of our lives. This is, especially before you have an agent, Backstage is your main resource for how do I get myself seen. But I just wanted to cover that because Backstage may or may not be terribly happy with me that my logo has a slight wink.
To be fair, it hasn't made it to corporate yet.
Great.
Editorial just took a look at it and was like, why the fuck did she steal our logo?
It was nothing but love. Nothing but love. So tell me a little bit about, of course I just lost my paper notes. Tell me a little bit about how you wound up, now you were an actor.
Yes.
Or you are an actor.
Yes, well, I've taken a little bit of a break, but yeah.
Cool, okay.
Yeah.
And so you
I actually performed with Will.
You performed Will. What did you guys perform in?
Oh, we were in a lesbian production of Romeo and Juliet.
Obviously.
We were not the lesbians.
Obviously. I don't know why I even asked. What did you play?
I was Montague, and he was Friar Lawrence. Yeah.
Were you Lord or Lady Montague?
Well, I was Lord Montague.
All right,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah.
But so you've taken a focus now on working for Backstage, you work in the education department of Backstage and events,
Yes.
and then also Audition Update. Maybe tell us a little bit about Audition Update as well.
Sure. So I founded Audition Update. As an actor, I was really sort of frustrated with how the audition scene was run and the sort of lack of information that we had as actors. So I created this resource that allowed actors to communicate with each other in real time about what was going on in auditions, how busy they were, who was in the room, were they seeing union or non-union, and all that sort of stuff that you kind of wish you knew before you actually got out of bed and showed up. A lot of times people had a friend that was there and they would text them what was going on, but there wasn't sort of anybody sort of aggregating all the information in one spot.
And it's exploded, yeah? I mean, there's over 10,000 people in your community.
Yeah, well, there's 10,000 registered users on the site, but there's a lot more that are just sort of creepers that use the site but don't actually post to it.
I may or may not be a creeper.
That's all right. I mean, we do 2.5, 3 million page views a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just as a show of applause, I know there's a lot of actors in here right now. How many people use Audition Update? Yeah, there's a fair amount of folks. It's very helpful, especially if you're going to EPAs and trying to figure out whether it's worth it to show up. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's great. So you're running these education programs where actors are interacting with casting directors or agents, or
Yes.
you're sort of seeing a bird's eye view of a lot of different parts of the industry. How has that changed your approach to your career as a performer?
It's mind-boggling the way that you see how much of it is out of your hands and how much of it really has nothing to do with how good you were in the room. I was lucky enough to sit in at an audition for a dance call with a casting director who's a friend of mine, and the best person in the room, the best dancer in the room, she said afterwards, she's clearly the best person, but I know the producer, I know exactly what they're looking for, and she's not it. So it doesn't matter how good she is, I just can't send it to the producer. So they didn't even get a call back. But the fact was, the casting director knew how good they were, and you could be sure that they're getting a call back when they're right for the part, without even having to be called in.
Right, absolutely. Andy Roth, who's I'm sure casting director, I'm sure many people in this room have worked with, always says that the audition is not about that audition, it's about getting you more auditions in
Yes,
the future.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, do you have any ridiculous casting stories from your life as a performer?
Oh God.
Oh, yes.
I have one that's really bad.
Please.
I was sent in for an audition for like Home Depot or something at house casting, and through my own stupidity, I misread the instructions on what they gave us because they didn't really give us traditional sides. They gave us just sort of a picture drawing of. I'm having a brain fart. I can't think of what that actually is called. Storyboard. Thank you. Storyboards of what we were actually going to be doing in the commercial, and I just misread what they wanted us to do, and I thought that they didn't want us to say the lines. They just wanted us to sort of react. But they really wanted us to say the lines, and the worst part was they had us go in pairs, so there was some poor actress who I took down with me. So we did the first take, and I'm just emoting my heart out with my face, and they sort of stopped and re-explained it, but they never said anything about the lines, and they had me go again. And I was the first line, so she couldn't even start until I said anything. And I wasn't saying anything, I was just sort of like really hamming it up.
Acting up a storm.
And finally, after like 2 or 3 times, the casting director just stopped and was like, wait, what the hell are you doing? And they let me do it one more time. Like I could just see the rage seething between the actors that I was saying, and justifiably so. But,
oh, God.
I needed 1, maybe 2 drinks after that.
Yeah.
that was pretty rough.
I bet. And so having the view that you have now, are there mistakes or things that you see actors do on a regular basis you wish you could guide them elsewhere in a different way?
Yes, there are a lot of actors that want to show you what they can do, not necessarily what you want them to do.
Yeah.
And so it's great that you can stretch yourself that way, but that's not what's going to get your foot in the door a lot of times. Sort of you have to show them what they want to see first, and then they'll let you play with sort of your type of who you are. So, you know, when I see somebody who's like 19 years old and fresh out of school and they come in and they sing Don Quixote, it's like, you're not going to play that part for a very long time, and it's great that you sing it beautifully, but nobody cares.
I was definitely that 23-year-old.
Yes, you know, I totally did that. I was going in like doing Creon monologues.
But I played 50 in college.
Yes,
Yeah.
I could grow a beard. My entire college career was just various forms of facial hair.
Yeah, mine too. It was terrible. I'm on medication now. This took a weird turn. No, not till Tuesday. Tomorrow at 5:15. Coming Arden. That's really her name. Have you seen, I mean, I know you're in the education and events world and backstage, but have you seen any real doozies of breakdowns?
Oh.
Yes.
There's 2 that come to mind. One, there was a breakdown for an art film, we'll call it that, there was a scene in the movie where a woman gets her mouth sewn shut. And they wanted the actress to actually get her mouth sewn shut. To physically have her mouth stitched shut. Now, to their credit, they specifically asked for people that were into piercing and body modification, and they were totally upfront, and they said, this is what we're going to do, we're not trying to surprise you, we want somebody that's into this. But they wanted to sew somebody's mouth shut on film.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Of course they don't want to surprise you.
Yes.
Surprise!
That was a great audition. Can you come back here for a minute?
Yeah. Now, do your lips protrude a little more? Do we need a good vantage?
Really full lips. And the other was, it was a multi-step process where they were only looking for attractive women, of course.
Right.
And they wanted you to submit bikini or lingerie pictures. Then they wanted you to come in for an audition. Then they wanted you to do fight training. And the last round of audition was a full nude simulated sex scene with the director. In his Brooklyn apartment.
I love it. And there's no shortage of that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why we got to fight the good fight.
Yeah.
So we have to wrap up, but I do have one more question. Has there been any thought to holding a how to write a breakdown class, and do you need a teacher?
Funny thing is that casting directors don't really like to be told what
Not
to
for
do.
casting directors, for film students and all the youngins. All the youngins that keep submitting disasters out
Yes,
there.
I think that there are a few film schools in the city that can probably use a class where it tells them not to write breakdowns in text language.
Great.
With lowercase I and U's instead of the word you, and yes.
I'm going to work on my syllabus and I'll submit it to you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Sesame friends, come back. Since we've gone back to school this evening, let's take a look at some of the offerings out there for kid actors.
Kid, 5, an actual kid.
Iris, female, age 11 to 14. Must know about the birds and the bees and know what an abortion is.
Billy, 3 to 10, a boy who bounces a ball forever.
That's gonna be a long day of auditions.
Dylan, 10 to 15, is a young male who at first depreciates his grandfather's love, but learns to appreciate him.
At what rate does his love depreciate? Fixed percentage or variable? Just because you're a kid doesn't mean you can let yourself go.
Child, male, aged 5, already buff. A gymnast.
Amy, female, 10 to 13, the youngest daughter. Just on the verge of no longer being cute. Amy fears replacement by a new, younger sibling.
Miranda, artistic brunette. Tall, on the skinny side, but not eating disorder skinny, just normal teen skinny.
Guess I wasn't a normal teen after all. Babies don't get off the hook either.
Clothing company is currently casting baby boys, non-union. Specs. They are looking for all ethnicities, beautiful, gorgeous baby boys, but no commercial quirky types, please.
Children of all ages can flaunt what they got.
Girls, 7 to 10 years, sassy and flirty, loves putting on makeup.
There she is. Sorry she lost that show. And any age has to be prepared with their special skills.
African girl, African American female, 6 to 7 years. She could be from any part of Africa. Smooth or a bit rough looking. She's small for her age. She'll need to be very directable, capable of sweeping, hoeing, drawing, eating, interacting with others, all with a range of emotions.
Gert, grandma's daughter. Traumatized by grandma, she has the tendency to suck in while speaking.
Go ahead, I want you guys to all try that right now. And I don't really. But what might surprise you the most is that even kids can't escape nudity.
Little girl, Eve, female, ages 5 to 10, Caucasian. This character is a curious youngster who symbolically represents Eve before she bites the apple. This role may require that the actress go topless to represent the blissful innocence in man before fall. Details may be discussed during audition.
We sure start them young, don't we? But maybe it's for the best. As a woman, the young girl cast in this role has a lot to get used to in the business. For instance, she should be prepared to be perfect.
Sandy, 25 to 35, high-class escort to the uber-rich, completely, utterly, and unfathomably stunning, makes Victoria's Secret models look homely. Please don't submit pretty actresses. Looking for perfect 10s who can act only. Thanks.
Asian girl, Chinese, Japanese, Southeast Asian, Thai, Vietnamese. We need the prettiest Asian girl. Please bring your own wardrobe. Dressed like a senior in high school.
Susie, she has a beautiful, innocent face and model type body, tall and elegant, as if God himself chiseled her.
Us short girls are chiseled out of devil's breath and goblin farts. I was really proud of that line. Thanks for making the dream come true, guys. Additionally, our young lady will have to prepare herself to hate other women.
Dana. She is Kimberly's so-called BFF, who is very envious of Kimberly and her newfound success. She does everything in her power to sabotage Kim's new cable show.
Storyline. The Jessicas is about four very best friends who hate each other.
Amber Stevens is the mortal enemy of our protagonist. Conniving, driven, and absolutely hateful. Amber knows what she wants and will do almost anything to get it. She is the absolute worst and a total fake. Out to ruin everyone's life like an 8th grade slut queen.
And that was written by a woman. Our ingenue should make sure her level of taste is above board.
Two sexy younger women, both beautiful, contemporary, cool girls, not bimbos or trashy.
Female scientist. Mature, intelligent, attractive, but not trashy.
Woman, looks good in a bathing suit. Pretty, not trashy.
She should not expect to have a name.
Seeking actresses 18 to 35 to be girlfriends of male principal actors in a popular web series.
Girls for a day in the life photo shoot. The ideal girls are 20 to 30, hip, and have great style.
The ideal girls are not apparently women.
Babe, supporting. There are 8 babe characters with personalities that vary from valley girl to sophisticated.
Female, need tall, 21 to 28 years old, slim, athletic, and photogenic female. Female will be very light dancing, extremely light, even bopping your head. While rapper is rapping. She will be close to him, within 1 to 4 feet, or far away, 20 to 30 feet. Also will need to shoot some model shots of female by herself, smiling, holding her hair, looking into the sunset, the usual stuff.
Grover routine on Sesame Street? Near? Far! That always makes me think of. Right, Amelia? Yeah. Our budding actress should definitely check her feminism at the door.
Annie, she has an undying devotion to her boyfriend that blinds her from seeing anything he does as wrong. Whatever needs be, as long as she gets hugs and kisses.
Women are just like puppies, do you know what I mean?
Girl scientist Larissa, mid-20s, attractive behind her glasses, wants to be taken seriously.
You can start by not calling her girl scientist.
Jennifer is a beautiful woman with a classy disposition. She wants the best and she knows what the best looks like. She takes no prisoners in her pursuit towards her idealistic goal of marrying a wealthy man.
Mrs. Maloney is the perfect English housewife, 6 months pregnant, loving, caring, yet very reserved. She makes sure she always acts appropriately, never overstepping her own boundaries or the boundaries of others. She loves to just sit in his presence, in silence. Knowing that her her husband loves her and that she loves him. However, when he tries to leave her, she finds it difficult to process, and by her fear of abandonment, kills him. Fearful for the fate of her unborn child, she tries to cover up her tracks with the knowledge she's attained through being a detective's wife.
Perhaps that one belonged back in the mommy issues section. Our actor should be prepared to emulate other successful women.
Molly is a very attractive female with a slight nerdish quality about her. Think Zooey Deschanel.
Neighbor girl, lead, Caucasian female, cute, quirky, eccentric. Idea, Zooey Deschanel-esque.
Lead girl, a quirky and sweet city girl. The perfect modern-day romantic comedy heroine. Relatable, fun, a go-getter. A Zooey Deschanel type.
Dawn, female, Caucasian, mid to late 20s, looking for a parky posy, Christina Ricci, Zooey Deschanel type.
And if she makes it to late adulthood in the business, there are some stellar roles waiting for her.
Caroline Wilkes, well preserved for her age, and still holding a certain sex appeal. Somewhere between a MILF and a cougar. Most of the nudity is implied, but we can see Caroline's breasts.
Teresa Wheeler, female, supporting, Caucasian, mid-30s to early 40s. Dewy eyes, flowing dark hair, and porcelain skin. She is well-toned and extraordinarily petite for a woman of her age. Yet the years have taken its toll. Her dewy eyes are often clouded with worry. And the elastin in her skin has given way to a wrinkle or two. Nonetheless, she wears only light mineral makeup and minimal foundation, all of which accentuate her natural beauty. She also only uses lip balm and the occasional lip gloss, never lipstick of any shade.
To be fair, young men, of course, have to prepare themselves for what lies ahead as well.
Yuri, a well-dressed Russian businessman. He is in fact a local mobster, a man with his dirty thumb in a great many greasy pies.
Man number 2, age 20 to 25. No lines, receiving end of a high five.
Adam, male, Caucasian, 20 to 22. Someone who resembles the biblical character. See Google images.
There are pictures available? All this time I thought that creation myth was a load of crap and you guys had pictures? And he was from the Caucasus Mountains?
Male lead. This guy is sexual bud. He can move his ways into any situation or bedroom. His eyes and charm are his hooks. His strong hands later become much like a pottery wheel. He's an artist of intimacy. His lips aren't just sexy. He's an intense conversationalist. And we never know if to fall in love with him or not trust him.
There are gems out there for every gender. But perhaps the following 2 breakdowns from the same project will better illustrate the different skill set men and women might need.
Mom, upscale, pretty, professional. This mom has a lot of money and has not really had to work very hard for it. She loves going to fancy parties and outings. Dad, upscale, preppy, pompous. Dad cares more about work than anything else in the world. If his work is not complete, he cannot rest. always working, always busy, always trying to make an extra buck.
And to think this is 2014. Well, we have just about come to the end of our education this evening, but no school night would be complete without a pop quiz. Now, this multiple choice test is cumulative, so some subject matter might appear from the last show, but I think you'll all do well nonetheless. Question 1.
The following is taught in film school. A. English. B. Awareness of Oedipal tendencies. C. How to write a breakdown. D. None of the above.
Thank you. Question 2.
A woman should bring the following to an audition. A, boobs. B, her best frenemy. C, a horse. D, all of the above.
You're learning. Question 3.
An actor just starting out can expect to make A, $50,000 a year. B, $100,000 a year. C, exposure.
Question 4.
An actor over a decade into her career or his career can expect to make A, $100,000 a year, B, more exposure, C, just enough to cover her therapy bills.
Easy. And lastly, question 5.
What should you shout at the end of the following breakdown?
Nicole, beautiful, youthful Italian. Nicole is our seemingly naive protagonist who is more than prepared for her first pizza delivery.
Outstanding! You all get A's. Thank you so much for coming to Back to School Night with us tonight. Let's hear it from my guests, William Jackson Harper, Warren Special thanks to Jen Holt and Patrick Goss, the newest Ramon Tejada at Arts Rights and Flickr created common license for my logo. My parents, the Rosenbergs in the front row. And if you'll indulge me for just a moment, like any actor does, I work a number of day jobs to keep myself financially afloat. And both of my employers happen to be here this evening. So I have to thank Jennifer Collins and Rachel Green for their patience, their support, their paper, and their printer ink. Because without you, this show, or at very least these scripts, would never happen. And lastly, a portion of tonight's proceeds will go to the Reading Rainbow remount. If you're around my age, which may or may not be in my 30s, you may have, like me, grown up with a great love of reading fostered by this wonderful program. For more information on the 2014 Remount Project, please check out www.readingrainbow.com. Thank you guys so much. By a certain tall blonde on stage, and was never posted to the Tumblr because a certain tall blonde on stage was submitted to the role. This is Game Day Betty. Strong improviser. Game Day Betty is strong, funny, sassy, sporty, creative, and eloquent. If scientists, or the dudes from Weird Science, were able to take DNA from a female improv goddess, Flojo, and Julia Child, you would have Game Day Betty. She knows her stuff and she isn't shy at all when it comes to talking game. She knows not to overdo it, but she does it just enough to get the job done and prove her point. I don't know what it is. Game Day Betty isn't a newcomer, but she's not too old either. She probably appears to be somewhere in her 30s, even if she feels a little older. If the performance is on point, that's okay too. She is sort of racially universal, i.e. Maya Rudolph, Nassim Pedrad, Jenny Slate, it's almost hard to tell what exactly she is without having to ask. The most important thing, however, is nailing the right actress. So we are open to all comers. Even if they are clearly a specific ethnicity, i.e. Wyndon McClinton-Covey is clearly white, but has the right amount of universally respected sass. Thank you guys so much for coming out.